Hello everyone, this is Tara and Ava. Sitting here on the fence with Pikes Peak in the background. It's a beautiful day. What I'm going to teach you today is an invaluable lesson I learned at a cowboy clinic with Craig Cameron about 10 years ago. How do you get your horse to sidle up to whatever it is that you're trying to use to mount up on? Especially with a tall dressage horse. You want your horse to step over and help you get on rather than turn around and point their butt around to the opposite way of what you're trying to do. So the easiest way to start this, Craig taught us, is you sit up on a fence with your lunge whip in your hand because your arms aren't long enough, and a dressage whip doesn't tend to be long enough. And I'm going to start teaching Ava how to move her butt over next to me. It's always interesting to me because horses want to turn around and face you, which at this point I guess makes sense because I have been teaching Ava to turn around and give me two eyes. But now I want to teach her that if I'm tapping on her butt, she again needs to move away from the pressure. This is a little difficult for her because I'm asking her to move towards me. She's pretty used to, when I tap on her, to move away from me. But she's not used to actually moving her butt towards me. So there she gets over pretty good, but when I ask her to take that last step up next to the fence, then she wants to try to walk forward. But she did a pretty good try, so I go ahead and stop, and I just leave the whip on there because I want her to understand there's a difference. The whip is not something to be scared of. The whip is just an aid to teach her what I want her to do because my arms aren't long enough. Now I'm going to give her a nice good pat and let her relax for a minute and see that this is a good thing to be, standing up next to me. And even though that's the way I'd want to mount her, I'm going to teach her to move her butt over back and forth on both sides because for one, you never know which side you might need to be able to get on your horse, and then we always want to teach them everything from both directions. And so she got pretty good, but right when I asked her for that last step next to the fence, then she moves away because she's just a little bit uncomfortable getting that close to the fence and just thinks there must be something else that I want her to do. So here I went ahead and stopped one step before she got too close to the fence and patted her so that she knows that that's what I want her to do. But now I'm asking her to move over. So she moved forward and she did take a little bit of a step sideways. So at the beginning here I'm looking for any excuse to give her a pat on the head and tell her good girl. And then I let her hang out for a minute and relax when she's in the right spot. So I'm moving her back around over, and I want to get her to sidle up and more closer to the position of what I would need, because I don't want her to teach her to get pretty close to where I get. Have you ever seen people trying to get onto their horse and they're stretching over and they're leaning over and hopefully if everything goes right they'll get on their horse? But that's a pretty good spot that she's in right there. I'm patting her back. You can see that if I wanted to jump off the fence and hop on her back right there, that would be pretty easy to do. You can see her ears are back listening to me, but she's in a pretty relaxed spot, and this is a very good stopping point for this exercise right here. Now that Ava's done so well, we want to take it to the next step, is to get away from the fence and see if she can do this exercise while I'm standing on a mounting block. I'm not going to have the fence to help me explain to her what I need. But I think one thing I want to point out here is I'm still using the lunge whip. So I only changed one thing. You know, I took the fence away, but I'm still standing up above her, and I'm still using the lunge whip. So it's the same exercise. Haven't changed too many of the parameters. The difference is that she just has a little bit more room to move around in. And she doesn't have a landmark about how to sidle up. So here she is. She's getting closer and closer with her head. And then I'm petting her because she did take a step and try. Now I'm going to tap and ask her to move her butt again. And this is the most unnatural as she's having to move towards me, so then I pet her. So again, it's very critical you see that she's not learning to become scared of the whip. She's just learning that the whip is a tool to communicate with her. There she's thought about taking a step, and I want her to take a good try. There she goes. I want her to settle for a minute. Taking a look at the camera. Look how good I'm doing. She is quite a smart horse, and she does try. And I like how she's taking small steps. She's not getting super excited about it. But that's why we started doing this up against the fence. So this becomes a more natural progression. So now I'm going to ask her to move away, the opposite of what I would want her to do for mounting. But again, I just want her to learn also to always be moving away from the pressure no matter where it is. So there she went ahead and kept moving on around much farther than I asked. But that's okay. I'll let her go ahead and do that. Then I'm going to push her back the other way. and she's starting to walk around. She's happy to want to try to go all the way around me. You can see she's not concerned about the whip. I've moved it over the top of her head and the top of her back. She's learning that it is a tool for communication. And you can see as I'm tapping her in the flanks, the first week, if you remember, every time I touched her anywhere near her flank, she wanted to kick out. It was just kind of a reaction. And she's getting more and more desensitized. And that's not really the reaction that she has every time anymore. It still happens now and again, but it's less and less.